I actually came to a game 18 months ago. You know, as I said earlier, we've been on plenty of vacations over these to visit my son, and we got acquaintances, myself and Zoran, who knew each other, and I got invited to the game against Red Bull, and really enjoyed the game. Charlotte were winners on the day 2-0, and it was a great atmosphere. You know, you could tell it was a community-driven club. You know, with the supporters, and I think that warmth and that feel never left me. So to answer your question, when the role came up, I was approached to see if I would be interested in the role, and I then done my due diligence and just spoke to my family, as I always do, and we felt that this could be a really good opportunity.
Who's a badass? She's a badass. Who's a badass? She's a badass.
Hey Dino, what's up, man? Welcome to Charlotte, dude. Man, we love you. Can't wait to see what you do on the pitch. Hopefully it won't be what Villa did to my Spurs, but you know, that's a whole nother story. But welcome to Charlotte. Man, we get some tea, maybe some crumpets, man, do an old English breakfast or something, man. Just hit us up. Love an interview.
Blood sausage.
Charlotte FC 3, Toronto FC 2. For the fans, by the fans, damn it! Vamos!
Everything's okay with that. Everything's gonna be so great. So, Charlotte FC, let's go. 3 points. Philadelphia, we're coming to you.
Big Apple was a golden delicious, baby. Let's go!
Atlanta, we go over there. We killing you.
Wants to marry me, you can.
Hey, big dubs. Hey,
What'd you think of the game?
what did I think of the game?
Yeah, tell
I
us to
thought
me.
you were amazing. Hey, he doesn't get enough credit.
I do not get enough credit.
He's fucking amazing.
I am
on
amazing.
TV.
Yeah.
TJ, I'm gonna have to hire you for photography. And ain't no TJs, JT.
You changed the name, man.
It's fine. It's boot room, aka where all the cleats are. You smell the airflow in here is really good. It smells really good. If they want to stretch their stuff out, get their workout on, bam.
We love Christian, Selena.
I don't know. What can March do better?
Selena is absolutely top notch. We're
Top
so
notch.
proud of him. We love him in Charlotte. Yeah, he did a great job.
Like when you go on Kalina's website, you give them like a 5-star Yelp review.
Absolutely, 100% every time.
Damn, I ain't got no interview or nothing. Anyway, over here at Queen City.
CLTFC fans, by the fans, damn it.
Hey, George. I got it. Is it CLTFC Fan TV for the fans, by the fans?
Damn it.
Damn it! What's
Damn
up,
it.
CLTFC Fan TV? I'm JT in my hot spot
on this thunder and lightning kind of nights. That there is Lee. Looking good, Lee. Look like you got some sun. You got a haircut, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And the man that does not need an introduction nor a haircut is Brian Bam Miller. Welcome. Doc.
Hey, yeah, Doc, man. Doc's always commenting and with some great comments after the shows. Normally, just so to see his name come up in the
I know, right?
In the live is it's good to see. So, what y'all want to talk about?
What's up?
I want to say how much more intense it is, like to get on this show after. I mean, just y'all had Joe LeBou on, you had Alexi Lawless on, and now, I mean the background paperwork and all the contracts and negotiations that have to be done to get on the show now. So intense.
Here. Yeah. We call it vetting. But you were already in, Dan. You were good. We didn't have to vet you much.
Yeah. Well, we raised about a little bit. It just took him another couple of weeks to get there.
Yeah.
Some MLS fantasy show or some shit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the fantasy stuff.
So glad to have you back, Brian, man. We've missed you. We said we'll make it work. So, yeah, man. Welcome to the show again.
Hell yeah. Well, it's just been a great stretch. Three road games that went way better than I expected. I got to go to the Cincinnati game just over a week ago, and
what was there?
Yeah. I've missed a lot of the really spectacular home games, and I think it made up for it in that one game. That was maybe the best performance I've seen Charlotte FC ever have against Cincinnati. It was well up there. Huh?
Is that your first time going to the stadium, Cincinnati Stadium?
Their new one. I've seen Cincinnati. So I went to their first ever home game in MLS. They beat Portland 3-0, and we all thought they were going to be really hype. And then they went on to 3 wooden spoons. And so but that first home game was intense. They've had a really good fan base since before they were in MLS. I think they jumped the line on several teams because they were a USL team for a couple years, and they were still bringing like 25,000 they were playing at UC's football stadium. So I saw them when they were a USL team as well. That's where that Cincinnati. So I do have a couple of Cincinnati scars because I had those scars before Charlotte was ever a team.
Yeah, with the red one ruined that whole background there.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah. Front and center too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've seen them a couple of times, but not at their stadium they have now. It's incredible, man. The atmosphere there is top notch for sure.
Yeah, when we went, I had a good time. It was, and I guess they had redone the downtown or something. So that was pretty cool too.
Yep. Yeah, like Washington Park. Did you walk through that was that built up when you went the year before? And they had a venue there, like a music venue. They had like a DJ outside. They were rocking a lot of music before the game. So just for the walk up, they had like a splash pad outside. So my kids were able to like play and have fun. They had a really good atmosphere the whole way in. And that was just to walk to the stadium. And then you got in, and then there was like another band jamming out right in front of the ticket booths. So there's you could like kind of go to 2 concerts before you even get into the stadium.
I didn't see anywhere on the renovation plans for the bank anything about a splash pad.
Yeah.
WTF, man. We got to get a splash pad in there, y'all.
Yeah.
Or at least get one of the security guards out there with a hose spraying up.
Why do the sprinklers come on, man? When the sprinklers done. But yeah, to your point earlier, Brian, man, I think that was probably the best I've seen Charlotte play, man.
Yeah.
And it was a fun game to watch, and
complete.
We basically just wrecked Cincinnati then. They haven't been the same since. All we do is wreck teams, man.
Yeah,
Queen City.
And Columbus, after the Columbus draw, Columbus had a really big loss. I think right after that as well, they've kind of started to hit a little bit of a rough patch. So
just tearing it up, man. For whatever reason.
Are y'all satisfied with the 5 points? I mean, I'm happy about it, but at the same time, I feel like we definitely left some on the table, especially the last game.
I think we could have got some points out of Miami. Yeah, and I mean Austin too. Well, go ahead. I'll let you speak on your thoughts first, Brian.
Well, going into this 3-game stretch, after picking up 2 losses, I thought this was a really make or break time. I mean, when you look at Orlando, they're undefeated in 5 straight, and they had won 4 in a row. They really were like flying up the table. They're starting to really find their form, and they're one of the better teams, I think, if they're really on it, like in all of MLS. So they had a really rough start. So I do think when I was going into this 3-game stretch, I was like, man, Charlotte could be in real trouble. They could like fall down the table a bit if you have those 2 losses plus this road stretch. So the fact that they got the win at that point, I was like, you're playing with house money after getting a win in Cincinnati. I know they're missing most of their back line at that point. I mean, they had Miles Robinson, but Cincinnati's hurting. But still, to get 3 points in Cincinnati was huge. And then, I mean, a point in Columbus is a win. Like, I mean, Wilfred Nancy for me is probably the front runner for Coach of the Year. I know a lot of Charlotte fans will rip on me for that, but I mean, he's been a top-notch coach. So, I mean, getting a point in Columbus is a win. And then, I mean, the drop points in Austin, yeah, but at that point, 5 and 3, I was hoping for 2 or 3 points just to stay alive, just to get off the losing streak. But that's what Dean Smith's done all year. He stops the bleeding. They've never lost 3 in a row. They've lost 2 a couple times, and then he gets them back on track every time. So props to him.
Yeah, and I mean, we had that at the beginning of the season too. We had that away sort of streak that we made it through, right? So, we've had those. We've had those. Just the fact that we're getting points on the road this season is like better for me. So anything above a point on the road is definitely good. So, yeah.
Especially going into the break too. I feel like you said, Brian, the whole idea of it could have gone completely the other way, and then you have the break for Leagues Cup, and that really would have sucked to like have 0 points or only 1 or something like that. But to get 5 and to start off that trip with the 3, kind of like, all right. And I wonder too if that kind of helped, with just lessening pressure or whatever in Columbus and stuff. But
Did he drop it? Did I drop?
Yeah, I'm completely satisfied with 5 points.
Yeah, perfect.
I think we all
JT. No. So, but yeah, because I was like, I wonder if that's me because the storms are starting to come through. So, anyways.
Yeah.
We'll go
Hey, y'all, I had the thunder and lightning when I wrote my little tagline earlier, but now Brian's got it in he's east of me. I think you're clearly, but we're getting some big storms around here.
Yep. Yes, I think it's moved on, so I think we should be clear.
Yeah, but no, man. So we went to Austin this weekend, man. What a shit show that was. More on the airports than anything. I will say what they say: keep Austin weird. I get it now. So there's that, dude. We took one of those pub pedal things. Right, the ones where you ride the bike, you play the music, you drink, right, and you just kind of pedal around and do the touristy thing. So we're like, I don't know, 5 minutes into this, right, and we're not steering, right. We're just sitting there. We're supposed to pedal, and they got the electric part going as well. So, we're riding down the road. All of a sudden, look out! We sideswipe a damn parked car.
No.
He drove us right into it, dude. And you got your back to the road, right?
Yeah.
So we took out from fender to fender. The side mirror got busted off. All this shit, dude. And it's like, it could have really hurt the other people on the other side of the bike where the actual hit the mirror. Thank God.
Yeah.
Seats. Yeah, we just took it out, man.
So what did he do?
We had to stop and wait and do the insurance. So we just sat there and just continued to have a couple of beers or whatever.
You just said.
Yeah, while he was out there doing his insurance trade-off.
That's great. Yeah. I want y'all to know, folks, I have not talked to Lee at all since the trip because I wanted to hear something live. So hold on, homeboy, because those things don't go fast. I mean, they're never moving that fast.
because you basically pedal it, right? It's like an electric.
Yeah. And the nicer ones have the backup in case you hit an upgrade or whatever. And so you wrecked it. The guy wrecked it. Oh man, was he freaking out?
Oh, it's like, this is the first time in 30 years this has happened to me. And I was like, glad we were here. You know? So yeah.
So what happened in the airports? What was the weird thing about the airport?
Oh, just the debacle of a shit show it's been with all the mess that was going on.
Oh, okay.
Stuff and
stuff, right?
Poor Heidi, her flight got canceled on her last minute, so she had to stay by herself in Austin last night. So
no,
fun, man. Yeah,
y'all got out there okay because you left on Thursday, but then all hell broke loose on Friday with the Microsoft stuff. And, oh wow! So hold on, I saw a picture on the club's little newsletter thanking y'all for going out there. It looks like they definitely put you way up in a corner, right?
Yeah, it was a good view. Most of the away sections are up in the corner.
Right.
And I think we had more allotment for that Crowns Up and Away or whatever it's called. So there was a lot of us that were scattered around too.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was a nice stadium, man. They got a nice setup out there. I mean, I don't think it would be big enough for us. I think, we could easily do a 40,000, I think, but it was a nice stadium. It really made me have stadium envy for sure.
What did you think about their fans and all that kind of stuff? Because we were supposed to start off the same year, but COVID screwed that up and they came in before us. But I like to compare us because we're both so new. What was their scene like?
Yeah, the Austin people were great, man. I ended up syncing up with the Austin fan TV boys, man. So I went and did the fan interview after the game there. So if you haven't, go check it out on their channel. But yeah, it was great. The bus ride back, man. I've got some videos I need to post. I'm slap wore out from that trip.
Hold on, the bus ride from the hotel
back to downtown from this stadium.
Oh, okay. So the stadium.
We about because where we stayed was probably a good 20-minute car ride. Okay. And so we took the light rail and then we dropped out at some breweries, did some pre-gaming with those guys, the Austin fans at some breweries. And then we walked to the stadium.
Cool. Did you get any good tacos while you're out there? Little tortilla action?
One taco was the one everybody wanted.
Okay.
Good too, though. I did a lot of eating, trust me. Eating and drinking water. Lots of water.
Yeah.
Well, Terry Black's. Did you make it over to Terry Black's?
I don't know, dude. We were in and out so many places.
Queue action.
Yeah.
Oh, you would have known if you were at Terry Black's because they have a line around the block like all day, from like every day of the week. You would have known. You'd be like, wow, this is a crazy line. How am I going to wait in here? And then
he would have been walking past it. He's not going to stay in the line that long for barbecue.
Well, here's the thing. You think it would take forever, but when I was there, we had a line like pretty much around the block, and they still cranked us through in like 30 minutes. I was pretty impressed, but I mean, that's just what happens at a spot like that. They're used to doing that every day.
Lee don't wait no 30 minutes for food. Come on now.
It's funny. So it was late in the evening, and we were walking back to the hotel, and then there was a pizza line, So I befriended the folks at the front of it and then bought them a slice of pizza so I could buy myself a slice.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's my boy.
Yeah. So one slice of pizza cost me 3 times the cost. But, at the same point, I got my pizza and kept going.
He wasn't waiting for any pizza, man.
The game itself. Swiderski was back. And yes, right, I got my wish. He is back. I'm glad he's back. I thought he had a decent game, right, for his first time back. Like he mentioned on some of the interviews, the weather is hard to get used to again, right, after being out of it for a minute, especially this time of year, and especially down in Austin. It was pretty hot. And, I thought he played well. I mean, he could have – I'm glad he stepped up and was the one who was like, give me the penalty. Mm-hmm. He was unfortunate in the second half where he hit the crossbar. To Austin's defense, no pun intended. I mean, they also pushed us back, especially that last 5 or 10 minutes, man. I thought we were going to give it up. I was like, no, let's just get the point and get out of here. So, what do you say?
I was stoked that Swiderski scored the penalty just to It's like, all right, he's back and he's already on the books. And
But
he
it's
did it.
Enzo when he didn't take that penalty the first game of the year.
I know, right? If only go back in time and what might have changed. But yeah, it's funny, Swiderski too. I forgot about his whole ear thing or whatever, and like his official club picture. Swiderski looks because Swiderski's not smiling too much on the pitch. He always looks a little disgruntled. But that picture they've got of him, it's like the whole new Swiderski. I mean, he's doing this in the picture, and he's got the biggest shit-eating grin. He's like, ee. Yeah. So yeah, it's the whole new. But yeah, you're right. That second shot, man. Oh damn it! That could have gone in. That'd been sweet.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
Or the header after that, I feel like he did have two pretty decent misses. But I mean, yeah, one game. I think you give him a little bit of a break there. I will say that for me, he's never really been like a super clinical finisher. Like, I mean, he has some nice finishes, and I think more than anything, he'll bring just a little bit more of a level head and experience to the front line, which they don't have any, right? They don't have any. All those guys are young. They're all like 23 or younger. So like he's easily the veteran of that group, which I think is important down the stretch to kind of just have somebody to kind of slow things down and be more of like a cool head in certain spots. I don't know if he improves like over the next 9 games. I don't know if he improves the finishing to the level that, I mean, Dean made it sound like they were kind of finding a DP9 that was going to be like a super clinical finisher, like a big time goal scorer. That's kind of what the impression was when he was talking about that in the press conference. I don't think Karol Swiderski completely fits that bill. That's just not really been his, like the player type that he is. But at the same time, I mean, I think you could tell that there was a difference just in terms of veteran skill set, in terms of just like knowing when to like kind of how to move the ball up the field and take up space. And, he was a little bit more just experienced in certain spots that I think the team has been lacking and like missing in communication. You can tell at times Abada and Vargas and Ajiman sometimes just aren't all on the same page, and they just they're all learning together, and that learning process isn't pretty at times. And so Swiderski has learned a lot of those things already. You could also tell how quickly him and Westwood are like on the same page for that header in the second half. Westwood has been the last 3 games. I mean, I feel like more than Swiderski, we should really be talking about him as well. Like a revelation, the last 3 games. This team will go as far as Westwood can take them. That was what I learned from this last week. Westwood, when he is on, is amazing.
I know.
We lost you again, JT.
So, like that Tavares goal, man.
Yeah.
There you are. We're losing.
All 3 of us.
Well, you did. We didn't. Anyways, so JT, when you come back, just jump back in.
Anyway, I'm back now.
Yeah. I don't know. You're lagging for me at least. Anyways, so before we get up to Swiderski and start going down Westwood and that path, right? Kyle makes a point. It sounded like we were getting some offers for Swiderski, right? But they weren't good enough. And then all of a sudden, Dino sort of stopped talking about that, getting that DP9 now and sort of hinting towards the 10. So is that the route we're going now? We're just going to we're definitely like kind of no more offers on Swiderski. We're just going to, we know what we got. We're going to keep what we got and we're going to get a 10. Is that what you're hearing, Brian?
I mean, it sounds like at least, so I think another reason for Dean's change in response. So if you remember like his earlier press conferences, he mentioned getting a DP9, more finishing, more goal scoring, bigger threat up front. That was his initial stance. That was before Swiderski came back and started training with the team. Swiderski comes back, starts training with the team, and then that led him to his most recent stance when he was like, I'm starting him. Well, he didn't say outright he was starting him, but I mean, he ended up doing that. But he said like, I'm playing him at the 9. Like that's going to be where he plays. So something happened in that couple of weeks. I'd imagine it was mostly Swiderski's training, the way he showed up. Because if we remember the preseason, he really didn't get to see him a whole lot, and he was moving. I mean, at the time, Capetti was there as well, so he probably was rotating around. Because Dean Smith's stance was that he was a versatile attacker. That was his stance on Swiderski. That has completely changed. So I would imagine just over the last couple of weeks, the way Swiderski has approached camp or just training sessions and has approached, I'd imagine also he's probably been pretty vocal. Like, look, I'm coming back. Y'all need some help up top. This is my position. And he's probably kind of tired of getting pushed around a little bit because he seemed to be, for some reason, because of, I guess you could say, his technical ability and his versatility, he kind of was the one to kind of be like sort of just hybrided and moved around. Whereas now I think I would imagine he was probably pretty vocal as well behind the scenes. Maybe, maybe not, but I mean,
for him
either vocal with his performances or vocal with his,
for him to take the number 9 too kind of sort of solidifies that to me. And then Max Hillis has a great comment too, right? If they were going to sell Carroll on, right, that seriously doubt they would have brought him to practices, right? So, and then, Doc comes in over the top. This is what I want to see, Abato and Swiderski linking up, see how that plays out, because, we were all excited about Patrick, like being that super sub, like finally he can do that, right? More so than playing the full game. But I think that was one of his worst performance this weekend. So, I think his first touch needs a lot of work, but I'll leave it with that.
At times. Yeah. I mean, there's also times when, people will like harp on him for his dribbling ability. I think there's also times when you've seen him really flash. I mean, he took on Glesnes 1v1 against Philly, and that's one of the better defenders in all of MLS. So there's I feel like most of it is actually just him being young, and he just needs reps over time, and you'll see it kind of add up. I actually think he's in some ways a better finisher than Swiderski. I think part of that is because Ajiman puts himself in spots closer to the goal generally. Swiderski is more likely to take shots from a distance because of his ability at range, and so that kind of makes him a lower percentage shooter. That's just going to happen. But I see this as a moment for Ajiman to kind of just, take it on the chin, learn from the heat. He received a lot of heat, and I think sometimes it wasn't warranted. He had the same miss Swiderski had earlier in the season. He got roasted for it. He had the same. He beat the goalie and missed an open net, and the whole fan base just rips him apart. Swiderski does the exact same thing, and everybody's like, Swiderski, da 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 da, and they're he didn't even earn the penalty. He got the penalty and sunk it. But Alex Green made a boneheaded error. What?
So it's a team sport.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, so I do think also Ajiman receives probably an unfair bit of a microscope, but at the same time, that's part of the game of being a striker. That's part of being a striker. And so he's going to learn from that, and I think it's probably going to make him better because now he's going to take a little bit of a back seat. Okay, this is what it really means to deal with, inconsistency. They will replace you at that position very quickly, and then. Because that's the most important position. It just is. The responsibility of scoring goals is the most important, and getting it regularly. So I'd imagine long term, this moment could be really pivotal and help his development in a big way.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Dean has been saying he wants competition, and so many good coaches. You want competition in positions, and so this is more competition. Help me understand. We still can sign one more player in the window?
Oh, they can sign 3. They have 3 open. They have 2 senior spots open right now because Arfield's gone and Capetti's gone. Right. And then they have and then Hamadi Diop's on loan. So technically they could fill a supplemental spot as well.
And one DP to replace Capetti's DP.
Yeah, they have 1 DP spot. So the roster rules actually just changed. So here we go, JT. Yeah. That's actually why Lee brought me back. That was the whole thing. We're just waiting for this moment right here. But yeah. So they changed it to now you can either do two pathways. You get 6. They call prime spots. 3. So it's U22 initiative spots or DP spots. You can either elect as a club to have 3 DPs and 3 U22 initiatives, or you can elect to have 2 DPs and 4 U22 initiatives. And then you also get an additional $2 million in allocation money if you go that route. So, and then teams have to say which route they are going at the end of this transfer window. So on August 14th, they'll have to say, we have 3 DPs or we have 2 DPs. That's kind of what is going to have to happen from now on. So they can either stick with the 2 they have and sign U22 initiative players, which is a valuable spot. New England is apparently about to sign a U22 initiative player, which is Kerwin Vargas' status, but they're going to pay like $7 million for this transfer fee for this guy from Boca Juniors, apparently. So like you can spend some cash and get some high level prospects with those U22 initiative spots. I mean, that's what Kerwin Vargas is and what Petkovic is. So they could really, I mean, upgrade their roster in a couple of spots with both of those slots.
There you go, folks. Breaking it down, giving us the knowledge.
MLS does not make it easy, that's for sure.
Especially when they just changed this rule, so they did it in the middle of the season.
Yeah, like last week, towards the end of last week. And yes, hopefully Charlotte does sign somebody. Since we're going to talk about transfers, I guess, what I heard about, the rumors about Ream right now is that Fulham are not ready to let him go until they have a replacement. And so that's probably the hold up there.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, sorry, I got a cough.
Isn't Fulham's ownership group, like, aren't they pretty notorious for being kind of stingy just because of how much they go up and down and everything like that? I'm not as familiar with that side of the Premier League, but isn't that kind of something that they're known for, Lee? Like kind of being a little bit more.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to go get more water. I'll be right back.
Dang, it's like that.
Oh man,
well, I'm pretty sure. That it makes sense as well on there. I mean, Tim Ream has been Fulham's starting center back for God. It feels like forever now. I mean, a long, long time. He's been a big part of their.
But that deal is pretty much done.
I mean, it sounded like it was pretty in pretty advanced talks. We had on our live blog transfer window on topin90.com. We put him at like 90% done. So we were pretty confident that deal is really advanced and getting across the line. I guess obviously it just kind of depends. I mean, they have time to get it done. They have a month. So I'd imagine, and it's not like that's the position that is like the high, high priority in terms of like they need a starter right now or anything like that. I mean, technically they've gotten by at every position without having to change their roster up too much. So,
well, speaking of defense, it seemed like to me in the Austin game, I really felt like our defense let us down. I felt like they just, I don't know, it seemed a little.
It did seem a
little. It's like, what are you doing?
You stopped right at the word little.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did seem a little whatever. Little like they were just, watching the ball, or not watching the players and not marking their people and just, got caught watching. So, and I like that we've signed Privet and now Malanda to a long-term deal. That makes me happy, right? Yeah. We've got them locked up. So we got that solid D going again, but we haven't had a clean sheet. They've had time to drink all the wine that they were getting earlier. Now it's like, hey,
it's just catching up.
It's catching up. My wine bottles are getting empty. So,
yeah, no, I mean, that was the thing, right? I mean, when we all saw Privet get taken out because for precautionary reasons, it was kind of concerning. And then everybody's like, well, we got Ream coming, we'll be okay. But I mean, during that game, right, Bill came on and actually set up the winning goal. So there's that. So.
Yeah. Again, I think it goes back to youth as well. In that circle, I mean, Privet and Malanda are still both very young players, right? I mean, like half the squad that's starting regularly are like in their early 20s. And I think because of the way the game is played these days, and there's so much hype and excitement about young players on the international stage, like Bellingham, or that young Man U kid who did well for England as well. Like he's like 17 was Maidu.
Yeah.
Right. So like guys so there's just like people get acclimated to seeing young players excel so often now that they forget that like at the end of the day, like they're not really actually in their prime yet. They just happen to be like excelling really fast, and they're super, super talented. And so, but at the end of the day, they're still developing as young players. And I'd imagine, same with Malanda. While Malanda's shown some really like special ability and he's built up a lot of hype, he's still like 22. Like he's still learning how to be a leader of men, right? Like he's not there yet. And so,
right, get up to 26, 27, you're sort of an old man already. So I guess it really depends on the league you play in too.
Yeah. I guess so. I don't know. I think they still got some growing to do, and I mean you're going to have some highs.
Yeah, I was just talking about that age, right? How it depends on where it goes, but oh god damn, I just jammed my finger.
What's going on?
He's having a rough return from Austin, dude.
I know, right? He's been off work too long, man.
Yeah, he's all
That's what's going on.
Out of whack, dude.
But yeah, no, I Polino who's free now is James, man. He broke his contract, but it sounds like he wants to go to Europe though.
Yeah, I was actually. I think I was just talking about this with Jorge earlier today. I mean, just based on how you see or how you saw the amount of Colombian fans. Obviously, they had some negative press as well throughout the Copa America, but just the way Colombians showed up for their team and their players. If you're an MLS team and you watch that, how do you not try to do everything you can to bring a James Rodriguez to your club, whether it's Charlotte or anyone? I mean, he's a free agent too, right? So like, you're getting a return on your investment for that type of player, and he's going to do well. Like he clearly still has that beautiful left foot and cross and everything he can do with it. So, and I mean, he's going to bring thousands and thousands of Colombians. Like it just seemed like they travel hard for their team, and he's a big time player for the national team. So I can't imagine why he wouldn't be a top target for many MLS teams. Just even, I guess he says he wants to go to Europe, but money talks. And as an MLS club, seeing what happened during this summer in the U.S., the amount of Colombians that were showing up to stadiums, how do you not at least attempt to put in a call?
Or somebody when they were here in Charlotte, like went up and like sort of introduced themselves, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I actually agree with this. I think he does it better for his country. Some of those players do better for the country than they do the clubs, right? But
yeah,
I think when he was in the Premier League, I don't think he really got a fair shot, especially playing for Everton. So
no, I think he would do very well in the MLS. I think he would do amazing in MLS.
Bring him in, man. Go get him, Tepper, Zorn, whoever.
Yep.
So, yeah. What's up, JT?
Just making sure I'm not dropping out anymore, man. I'm having fun listening to y'all. Hey, I was wondering, a little off subject. Are any of y'all going to the Chelsea Real Madrid game?
Yeah, on August 6th.
No, Lee is not going.
Yeah, I am.
If he wants to give me a ticket, I'll go, but I'm not paying any money for any of my dollars to go to Chelsea in any way whatsoever. So, anyways, when is that? August 6th?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
So hold on. So Leagues Cup starts this weekend.
Philly.
Right? And we play Philly.
Yep.
And then Wednesday, we play Azul, right?
Azul here on Wednesday. And they're doing it group stage style. There's 4 teams in each group. Who's the
three?
Okay, so there's only 3 in a group. I guess it's still the same
kind of idea.
Yeah.
You're doing points. Yeah.
Okay, so Philly and Cruz Azul are in our group.
Yep.
Yeah, we should get.
Now, if I remember correctly, the club for the season ticket holders, we got charged extra for the one game for Cruz Azul, and you could either opt out to not be charged again automatically. I shouldn't say charge extra. Let's just say charge automatically. They said if you don't opt out, we're going to charge your account for this game. And it's kind of a funny thing because like you want to win, but at the same time I'm like, well, maybe I don't know when the next game would be. I don't know who they're playing and all that stuff. I might not even be in town. But since I didn't opt out, 4 months ago, they might be, charging me again. So I don't know how I feel about that, but nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is they try. It feels a lot like you being forced to that, like fear of missing out, right? It's like, oh, if I don't opt in, then I'm not guaranteed tickets. However, I still think as a season ticket holder, you should at least have, what? Maybe you don't get those tickets, but you get preferences. There's got to be some guarantee in there. I feel like, we commit to the club all season long, and then, of course we're going to show up. But like for me, I don't know if I need all 4 tickets every game either. So it's like I can't go in there and customize the ones I need.
That's a good point, to be able to just say, all right, I'll take 2 of my 4. I don't need all 4.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I wasn't even aware there was an opt-out window. I clearly don't pay attention enough to my emails.
Hey, well, speaking of emails, because I do like to, give a little light to what the club's putting out there. And they did put today, this morning, they sent out just a generic survey to all the season ticket holders. And I do think they are constantly trying to work and make the experience better. So look for the survey and fill it out, folks, or don't complain. Say what?
I said survey it up, man. Survey it up.
Hey, Lee, you tired, bud? You tired? You seem a little tired, bud.
I'm tired as hell, dude. I was literally like power napping before I came out here. So that's why there's not like much energy tonight. So yes, I'm very tired. And as soon as, we wrap up our show, I shall go hit the sack and be ready for tomorrow. Yeah,
hey, folks, Lee, I tell you what, Lee has been off work for a little while, but God bless him. He said, I'm not checking any emails. I'm not doing any of that shit. I ain't clocking in until I clock in tomorrow morning when I'm back, Jack.
Yeah, there's a lot of emails. I'll guarantee there's a lot of emails to be read. But anyways, that's enough about work. That doesn't bother us until tomorrow. But yeah, the tickets. So, anybody going to Philly? Let's ride up to Philly.
Yeah, right. Anyone going to Philly? And it would be interesting to see someone, for a Leagues Cup game going up to Philly.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think I'd travel for a Leagues Cup game, but I would. Maybe if they got further in the tournament, I would, where it started, quarterfinals, that sort of thing.
I saw their scarf for this year. They had a picture of it, and it was cool that on one side they have all the logos of every team in the tournament. So to see all the MLS logos and all the Liga MX, is that right? Is that what they call the Mexican League? So to just see all the, they're all about that size, but to see them all, that was kind of a cool look on a black background. And I like Coors Light a lot, so I like the Leagues Cup. And
Coors Light just cut you off again.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. But yeah, so.
Man, that's some bullshit. Man, I'll tell you what it is. It's these kids trying to update the Fortnite or some shit. Damn, man. Kids always.
I know, man.
Hey, Lee, why do we keep getting the signal, the little bars up on the stream on our end? Can you see that where it says live 43? Every once in a while, like little wireless signal bars pop up. It's kind of weird.
That's because you got weak signal.
You just told on yourself 100%.
Maybe no, my other bars are over there. That signal's fine. It's showing up on the stream over here, man.
That's why you keep locking up every time you go to have a point, and then.
Also, I got a moth flying around in here trying to get on my computer screen. Get out of here, moth! Damn it, boy.
Yeah. But I know you guys keep asking about the rumors and stuff. I mean, I haven't honestly heard anything other than Ream right now, and and it's just going to take some time. It looks like to get that across the table.
Yeah, well, and it also just depends on. I mean, if they might have completely switched gears, right? If they were looking for a DP9 as soon as like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then Dean Smith makes the call that actually I'm fine with the 9 in Swiderski, and running with Swiderski and Ajiman as the duo up there. That changes your approach. Like if they had been negotiating, and talking to deep, agents who strikers agents, and then now they're kind of switching gears, and like putting an attacking midfielder more as their primary target. I mean, that takes time as well, right? So if you kind of switch your aim and what you're going for, it takes time to do that. And I'd imagine like Charlotte have already, especially in the summer window, have shown a willingness to kind of wait to the end, just in terms of whether or not it's like the right opportunity of the player they want to come available. I mean, they've shown that most of their signings come towards the end of the window anyway. That's just kind of been their approach in the summer. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, we'll kind of see. I mean, the last couple of years, it's kind of worked out in some regards. Like Malanda, I think, obviously patience really helped them there with that signing, but it's also kind of hurt them, I think. And you would think this year it could hurt them even more, just because the consequences seem to be a little bit higher, right? If you don't get a guy acclimated to help you down the stretch, they only got 9 games left. So, and I mean, the difference in how you play in these last 9 can decide whether or not you're 5th or 7th. And 5th, I mean, even if they hang on to 6th, you really don't want to be 6th, because you got to play Columbus, Cincinnati, or Miami, and you don't want to be in that situation the first time. I mean, yes, we got the results, right? But if you're looking at those 3 versus a New York City FC or a New York Red Bulls,
I'd be more worried about the Red Bulls.
Really? Than any 3 of those?
It seems to be our bogey team, right? Every team has that bogey team that they just always lose against, right? For the longest time, it was City would always lose to Spurs, and then Spurs would lose to Norwich or something the following week, right? So and Newcastle is another prime example. Anyways, I'm getting way off tangent. But Red Bulls, man, is our bogey team. It's like no matter what we do, for some reason, we just cannot shake off that bad luck against them, in my opinion.
I don't want to see the Red Bulls in the playoffs. I don't like just the being haunted from last year's play-in game.
And they put the U.S. Cup at the Open last year too, or something, or the year before, right? They just ruined our run. So it's like I'd rather not see them come across the page as being our, being the team that we have to play. Like I'll play all around them, right? I do New York City, I'll play them. I'd be fine to play them. Oh shit, I'd even go back to Cincinnati or wherever. Columbus, maybe not so much, but yeah, Red Bulls, no thanks.
Yeah. Well, if Kyle's correct about them getting Depay, then that becomes then they probably are a top 3 team. Like if they get Depay, that team is getting closer and closer to being like New York Red Bulls. Their roster build over the last year has been really impressive. So they are. I mean, if they get Depay, that puts them very, very high on that. And I think they would probably become a top 3 team. Cincinnati especially have fallen a little bit. I wouldn't bet. For me, from what Noonan has done, I wouldn't bet against them. Like in terms of just Pat Noonan has shown an ability to get this team across the line and perform in key moments. Once that team is healthy, I'd imagine they're going to be pretty close to more full health. And they just signed a new center back to kind of help reinforce things on the back line. So it depends on how he acclimates. Obviously, that's not a noisy signing like Depay is, but at the same time.
Yeah. I know. You know what we need to do, JT? We need to reach out to the club and have Thomas come on and talk to us about how all the transfers work and like how they for it and that kind of stuff. That would be a cool show to have, even if it was.
Let's get the booker on it, man. Let's do it.
Sending out the MLS Charlotte light. Oh, me? I mean, I'll be back at work tomorrow, so why not?
There you go. You'll be back in the world. Get your good night's sleep on tonight.
Yeah, I cannot wait to go to sleep. Let me tell you.
I thought you already were.
Yeah. That was you cutting out. That was you cutting.
Yeah. All right.
So, JT, you got a list for us tonight?
Yeah, I got some stuff on here. I got 18, but we already hit a lot.
Well, let Brian pick a number, man. He hadn't picked a number.
Yeah, pick between 1 and 18. Bam.
12.
We already talked about it, but I just want to be clear about this. So we can sign another DP. We could somewhere, but Ream wouldn't be the DP, right?
No.
Yeah, right. So, but if we're thinking that we're not looking for another 9, then more than likely we would not sign another DP by August 19th, right? That's when the window closes?
14th.
14th. Okay. So we basically got 3 weeks.
Yep.
Alrighty.
I'd imagine they're going to try to. What midfield seems like the area to be able to if they could upgrade somewhere. I think it would be upgrading that midfield, and I would at this point I would speculate that Diani is probably the odd man out. of those three. I think Dean Smith is really starting to fall in love with what Bronico brings. I think he trusts him a lot. And I think for me, I feel like at times Dean Smith doesn't trust Diani. That's just kind of what I've seen at times. There's times when he subs him out for different circumstances. Not always. I think there was a time when Diani was showing up as one of Charlotte's best players, but I don't think that's been as consistent of late. And Dean Smith he's been one of the players that Dean has been willing to rotate out a little bit. So I would think that, I mean, it would probably be Bronico or Diani that's the odd man out if they upgrade that midfield. And for me right now, I'm leaning Diani just because I do think that Dean really trusts Bronico to do the job of what Bronico can do. It comes down to trust a lot of times. I think Dean has shown that he wants players more than, just whether it's goals or this or that. I think he does value like just certain character traits that he trusts to exist out there. And I think Bronico is one of those guys who he knows he'll show up as Bronico 100% all the time.
I will say Bronico and Abada, though, they've been having some serious fun link-up play to watch.
Yeah.
So, take it. And again, I know there's some Bronico haters out there, but this is our third manager that has pretty much all the managers sung praises for Bronico. So he's obviously doing something right that you haters are not seeing.
Yeah, he's showing that he's like undeniable, right? Like he's becoming in who he is. I think I don't know if there's many other guys on the team. Westwood is another one who's just sort of like an undeniable player in the way he approaches the game. I think Nathan Burns is another guy who kind of shows up in that way where he's just kind of like the way he plays. I mean, I think he's also taken some heat at times because of, maybe at times he's gotten beat on that right side. And then also his passing going forward is, there's misses there. But I think the way he shows up is very consistent week in and week out. I think there's a few guys on I would even say Kalina this year, especially. I think something clicked in him between towards the end of last year to this year where he's found an extra gear. I talked to him about that actually after a game. He said he really had focused on his sweeping and just learning how to really time those spots, better. And I think he's really shown up in a big way. So there's a few guys that really have, I think, just elevated their play. And kind of become undeniable in a way. And it's hard to get them off the field when you just show up, whether it's putting up the stat line or just showing like a certain quality to your game. And I think that's what I think there's times when Dean just doesn't like where Diani ends up on the field in certain situations. He likes to run forward, you can tell, which is aggressive, but then he puts himself out of position a lot. And it doesn't really look like he likes to run that hard back to kind of recover quickly enough. And Dean has mentioned that where he's like, I don't like my six that far ahead. And he's like said that in pressers, like, I don't like when my six is up there. Yeah. And especially when you lose the ball, like if you lose the ball and your six is in the box, it's a problem. So I think that's been one of Diani's the downsides to being an aggressive player is if you're not willing to kind of make up for that by getting back into position quickly enough, a guy who favors like Dean, who favors defensive stability, it's gonna be harder for you to keep your spot.
No, well, I mean, and I wish I had some of Bronico's energy today for sure. But
I don't get tired.
Yeah, listen, I actually messaged him one day and said, "Man, do you run in your sleep?" He's like, "I never stop."
Well, the thing is, another testament though is he had to come back from the injury. He wasn't guaranteed any spot, so he was already behind, and that was killing him. And then for him to do the work and then come on and impress Dean enough to get the start. Although for a second in the Austin game, I was like, whoa, is he grown out the mullet? He said he's staying with the mullet when he was on our show, and like he's grown it out on the side. I was like, it's still a mullet, isn't it? And I believe it is, but he just doesn't have his clean cut as normally.
That's because those boys have been on the road for 5 weeks. They run by.
I said because they're on the road.
Oh, I didn't. You froze when you said that.
Man, I probably did freeze. What are you talking about, man?
Right. So, our need for another winger. I struggle with this, right? I mean, obviously Abada. What if we put Pat on the left?
No, I don't like the idea of Pat as a winger.
It's like no.
That just I mean I haven't seen I guess I haven't seen him out there, but and I guess maybe it's not that he couldn't do it. I mean he has the physical traits to like get up and down the field, like he's willing to put in the work. I think that's one thing that you have to like. I think that's the key quality of a winger in the modern game that kind of doesn't get talked about a lot. A lot of people like to talk about their technical ability and their ability to like, you know, dribble or take players on or like get on their right foot and shoot from the left or things like that. But I think with a winger in the modern game, with how high fullbacks play, being able to be a two-way winger and help support in defense is such a key thing. And I do think Agyemang has that willingness to get up and down the field. And then, again, I think his technical traits are underrated by the fan base. I do think he actually is better technically. I think what holds him up more than anything is just inexperience. People forget he played at Rhode Island 2 years ago. The difference in speed between playing in D1 NCAA college ball and playing in MLS is like absurd. It's so different, right? So the speed of play is, I think, more so than his touch or anything else, is just he's learning how to process the game at the speed that he's playing at. And I think that just, there's no other way. I mean, it takes time. It's like, think about, you can equate this to any kind of job you have. When you're new, you're adapting to your environment, you're learning, whether it's a job or anything you're working, and then over time you get better, you get more efficient, you figure out, and you just learn how to cut out the, trim the fat in whatever work you're doing. And over time you just get better at it. And I think that's what Agyemang needs to do.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think with Vargas, it seems like after we gave him that new contract, he sort of went south on us, But I would love for him to start heading the ball outside the box rather than shoot. Get up and try to head it in.
He's been great with the headers.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I wouldn't say that a winger is outside the scope. I think there are some. I mean, I actually wrote an article about this. Like Ryan Frazier is available. Like I think that would be a fun winger. Like if you wanted to bring in a veteran, experienced guy who's put up 20+ goal contributions in Premier League for a pretty, mid at the time was a pretty surprising Bournemouth team. So I think a player like Ryan Frazier would be an interesting addition to Charlotte FC. So if you brought in a guy, I just think it's not maybe the most desperate need, but if that's where you can get that extra gear, right? That's what you're looking for. Can you find an extra gear right now? That's why I think the idea was, okay, let's whether or not he stays or goes, he loves the club, whatever the case may be with Swiderski. It's just it's a win now situation where he's coming back from a loan. We don't have a place for him, but he can also contribute right now. He will slot right in and fit a role, probably knock in a couple timely goals. I think that's my one qualm with the two misses he had that people maybe aren't giving him enough flack for, is those situations are going to come up and he has to drill those, because that's why he's taking Agyemang's spot, right? That's why he's on the field, is for those timely moments, because those are the points that are going to be key. That's the situation that's going to be key in the playoffs, is him being there and hitting that header in, and not hitting it because those are the moments that decide a playoff run. Those are the moments that decide where you finish in the table, to set you up for a playoff run. And so I think those are the types of moves that we should be seeing this summer. It doesn't have to be a long-term project. I think there's a lot of long-term project pieces in play in Charlotte already. It's is this team able to get from 6th to 4th or 5th?
Well,
then, or can they make a couple, can they advance a couple runs in the MLS playoffs, and then you see what happens, or even Leagues Cup. A Leagues Cup is a situation where if you get a guy in, that's what Messi was last year for Miami, right? And then they went on to winning and getting, obviously Messi's, I'm not saying that Charlotte's going to get a Messi type player, but that was you bring in a new signing who can adapt quickly. That's a veteran player. And you already have the pieces in place to, win your group and kind of maybe advance a couple rounds, and then you see what happens. I think that's kind of what this window should be for Charlotte, is can you get that one or two pieces and then just see, how good you really are right now.
I just hope that they've got the eye on the prize, right? And know what I'm hoping they have a game plan. I'm sure they do, but I hope it's a solid one, right? Because I personally get tired of, we were in for so-and-so and it fell through, right? Or, seems like some of the players we get MLS just don't like them and that sort of thing. But a couple more questions, man, real quick. Tavares, do you think he's pushing Vargas?
I mean, I really think Dean likes Vargas, and I think there's a couple of reasons for it. I think one, like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to Vargas is probably our best two-way player. Like in terms of on the wings, his defensive work rate for me has improved tremendously since he first got here. And I think that's why he keeps getting minutes regardless of coach as well. I mean, there's certain other traits besides what you're doing in the final third that help a coach trust you and give you those minutes out there. I think his work rate is pretty solid, and I think his willingness to track back and help defending has been a tremendous asset to the team. So I think like him, like Ajiman, even Abada at times, while he's flashed some really high ceiling, he's also kind of disappeared at times. And I think that again comes back to his youth and learning, knowing how to lead a team, right? I mean, he's 22. He's never had to lead a team before. So you have three guys up there in those three that never really had to be the focal point and lead a team before. And so you're going to have some highs and lows. And I think that's kind of what you see from all three of those guys. And then what happens is all three of them are doing highs and lows simultaneously, and then you kind of have them all kind of take a lot of heat. I don't think Yuri Tavares is that close yet. I mean, he's had some timely goals. He's been in good spots. Westwood has also been playing out of his mind. Like he's been just super clicking. And I think that's the key factor really is like this team will go as far as Westwood can take them. I think he's the one player at a level.
We were screaming out for that type of player last year, though, right? The one that would just take the game by the scruff of the neck and that sort of thing. And I think, Westwood definitely does it. And Bronico just runs around and just does the dirty work.
Yeah, and I think that's honestly why, I mean, whether you go with another midfield upgrade that's a more advanced position, and then that pushes Bronico back and maybe Westwood gets even more time forward. That's why I've wanted Westwood to play more of an 8 role the whole year. I think he's been Charlotte's most creative player since he was signed last year. And I would much prefer him being around the box because, I mean, we're seeing what he can do around the box over the last week. I mean, he's a handful for any of these teams to deal with because he puts in a perfect ball that's really difficult to defend and it's right on the money. And it moves well, it curls the right way, and it lands where it needs to be. And it's just, Tavares just was a tap in because of it. I mean, it was perfect. So, that's what you want.
Yeah. All right. So final question of the night, and JT, you can go first. If you had to grade Charlotte FC on their performances this season up to today, what are you giving them? A, B, C, D.
B plus. I don't think, I think we've improved a lot. I think Dean is the reason for that. And so, just whatever, just the whole feel of the team and the community and everyone being on the same page and all that kind of stuff. Well, like we all know, we still haven't filled out our roster, but to do as well as we have without having DPs for so long, at least on the pitch, it's been really impressive. And we're only 4 points off of the 4th place, which I think it would be absolutely. I just want to be in playoffs, but if we could host a playoff, that would be insane. So yeah, I say B plus. I just we're not in the playoffs yet. We haven't done anything postseason at all, and that would push this season into the A range as far as just being unhappy. But I remember when we first started this a long time ago, maybe 2 years, we were up in Z's treehouse with Chico. I remember Z saying, well, the real proof in the pudding is going to be, because he's like, the first season there's going to be so much novelty around the team, everyone's going to want to check out Charlotte FC. He said, but by the 3rd season, we'll see how they're doing and see if the fans are still there and all that kind of stuff. And I love that our 3rd season, we seem to finally got it right and are coalescing and playing well. And you got players on the team that your kids can cheer for. And so I'm stoked for it, and I give it a B plus.
And Brian?
I give it at least an A-, if not an A. I was talking going into so I remember after the New York Red Bulls lost, when they lost 5-2, I was talking to Vaughn, and I said, I was like cautiously optimistic was my stance going into year 3. I mean, in MLS, things can change quickly and things can work out, but I wasn't really willing to give much more than cautious optimism at the time. And I kind of stuck with that for a pretty long time until this 3-game stretch, right? This 3-game stretch was probably the most impressive stretch in Charlotte FC history in terms of what they were dealt with up until that the 3-game stretch started, with 2 losses back to back, 1 at home, and a big loss against, I think I would say that's a big loss against Miami at home. And then after those 2 losses, having to face the road trip they had in that moment to show up and get 5 points in 3, establish themselves pretty solidly as the 6th seed with a first-year coach who, I mean, I would say many, including myself, would consider him to be on the short list of Coach of the Year. I would say if there wasn't a Wilfried Nancy, who hasn't won one yet and probably is deserving of one, as well as Chris Armas, who is sliding way under the radar. But I mean, he took a 14th seed, last place Western Conference team, and they're like 4th right now, 4th of it. So like they have rocket. So if people are going to give Dean, if we're going to give Dean the credit he has, I mean, Chris Armas deserves a whole lot of flowers for what he's doing in Colorado. So there are a few other guys who, and Pablo Mastroeni in RSL as well, but I mean, he's on that short list. So I would say A-, pushing for an A for me in terms of just where this team has come from where they were kind of after that New York Red Bulls play-in loss.
Yeah, and that was, again, that's why I don't want to play them. Those guys have my number.
Yeah.
I'm like between an A+ and not an A+, a B+ and an A-, man. Maybe like a B++. Still room to grow, right? We see some stuff that could be fixed, but first-year manager, like y'all said, man, I think Dino's done a great job. What else is there to say? I just hope we get whatever signing we get. I just hope that it's the right one, right? And it's not a flop. So,
they need consistency.
Or a flopper.
They need consistency. I think that's what this team has really lacked since inception, right? I mean, Swiderski has never been a super consistent finisher. He's put up some decent numbers at times. Abada has come in and flashed, but he hasn't really put in consistent numbers either. If you look at like the transfer cost that he had and the salary he's on, he's in that Cucho range in terms of cost, and Cucho is putting up like crazy numbers. So like, that's kind of, for me, that's kind of the difference. When you spend big like that, can you get those really high consistent numbers and that high ceiling player? And I don't think, even though Charlotte has shown a willingness to spend, their big spending hasn't really hit the way it needs to if you're going to take that next level, right? I mean, look at like what RSL did with Chicho. I mean, obviously he's suspended right now, but they signed him last year and he's rocketed up into MVP status, right?
Right.
And so I think those are the teams that are really rocketing in those top 3 spots in the Western Conference or Eastern Conference. And it's just like they've made that one move that just put them into that 20, 25, 30 goal. I mean, LA Galaxy, that Gabriel Peck, that guy's got 20 goal contributions already. He's absolutely on fire. So there's those teams that are making it. And he's again, $10 million transfer, right in that window of what Abada was, a younger player. I mean, I guess he's more in his prime, but I mean, that's what Charlotte is missing, is like that guy.
Yeah. Charlotte's got a lot to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, we do. Well, Charlotte's a city as well. So, I don't know. JT, anything else?
Nah, I just got to go get my modem fixed. Get the damn kids off Fortnite.
Put them to bed, yeah. Yeah, well, I guess with that being said, Brian, man, where can people find you if they don't already follow you and read your articles and that stuff?
Yeah, y'all can find me on Twitter at BAM Maurer Media. You can also find all my written content, like you said, at topin90.com. And then also, if you're nerding out on MLS and want to chat about some MLS fantasy, check out Dropping Points. We also, me and Blake, MLS Gone Wild, do a MLS Fantasy Dropping Points show where we do a weekly podcast and talk about all things MLS fantasy.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate you coming on, JT.
Sure.
Where can people find us at, man?
On all the socials at CLTFC Fan TV.
For the fans.
By the fans.
Damn it.
Damn
Damn
it.
it.